What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the Rich and Turbo Heavy Half Hour. My name is Rich. Find me on all the socials at Rich at my name, Rich.Paiva, and Fuzz Doom Rip on X, and as a Doom Charts contributor, doing reviews for Musipedia of Metal. And the show is a sponsor of the Tampa Doom and Gloom Fest 3, which we're very excited about. Turbo, how are you today? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. I cleaned about an inch of dust off my screen, so now everybody looks cleaner.
And we can see you. We can see you even better. So that makes me happy. I don't know if that actually affects the fact that I can see you better, that your screen is cleaner, but we will get into all that technical jargon. We are here with my other favorite band from Richmond. I'm wearing my favorite band from Richmond's shirt, but my other favorite band from Richmond, Mister Earthbound. And we're very excited to have Walter and Jason from Mister Earthbound with us today. The guys put out a new EP called Ostara just Friday, right? Last Friday, the 20th.
Yep.
Three amazing songs. Turbo and I are big fans, as you can see from the last record here that we have in physical form right here. And we're excited to be talking to the guys today. How are you guys doing?
Top notch, good man. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. We're very excited to talk about the three songs that are out today. And what I was doing in my crack research, which means looking at my phone as I was eating dinner about 30 minutes ago, you guys are doing like three songs like a season or three songs a quarter, and this is the first EP. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, man, that's it.
Tell us about these three. It looks very springy when you look at the cover. I assume that's on purpose, but tell us about the series if you don't mind.
Jason, I'll let you do that one.
Yeah, so we had a million riffs after we released Shadow Work, that record that you just held up. And we ended up with 12 songs, and we're like, there's no way that we're going to fit all of this on one record, on a vinyl anyway. It would have to be like a so we're thinking about like ways not only to release it, but also to sort of, you know, keep engagement as nauseating as that is in this, world of instant gratification and, Instagram stories. Like how can we take these 12 songs and really keep putting out material all the time? Walt had this great idea of like, why don't we, it's divisible by four. Why don't we split it out, and just release seasonal EPs, and then at the end we roll it up into, one full length album. And we were all like, that's a pretty good idea, man. Like, let's roll with that. And so, this one, and then all the other releases subsequent are going to be thematically, aesthetically sort of tailored around that season. So yeah, I mean that's sort of the thesis statement of these EPs that are coming.
Jason, I feel like I would never ask this, but I feel like you're an academic in some way by throwing things out like thesis statement.
I would. These are my wife's degrees up here on the wall in my office. That's her. I'm smart enough to like get through the day without getting hit by a car. That's about how smart I am.
It sounded great though. It definitely did. So these three songs, and I was going to tell people to go to Bandcamp to buy this record, but as I looked, there seems to be no more of these records, at least available on Bandcamp, which is actually very cool. But the description for people who may not have heard Mister Earthbound, the description we read and things are like psyche doom, swampy blues type stuff, which is very cool and very unique. I feel like these songs lean a little bit more towards the psyche side of it, less than the blues side of it. Am I hearing that correctly? Is that kind of how these came about, or the vibe of these songs? Am I getting on something there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the psychedelic side's kind of an underlying through all of it. I mean, and everything's a blues, so I mean, it's always gonna be. But yeah, I mean, this one definitely is the more relaxed springtime, coming to get some sunshine. You know, and as the other ones progress, it gets a little faster, a little heavier, a little darker. Yeah.
Winter. I can't wait to hear what filthy riffs winter will bring upon us. Um, did I also read that there's you've had a lineup change or an update to the lineup, and you guys look different now, correct? Than maybe what you did prior to the EPs coming. What happened there? Tell us.
Yeah, so Jason and I have been playing music together for a long time. He joined in probably, 5 or 6 years ago at this point, right before Shadow Work. And that was kind of a collection of music that, we kind of wrote together, but some of it was a little bit of a back catalog. So that kind of was, we were just kind of working through getting those out. This is kind of the first one where, it's Jason and I really working on it. Him doing all the lyrics, him doing all the vocal harmonies. And Grayson, if he joins, he does most of the solos and leads. And then I do the production and the songwriting. But yeah, the drummer we had playing with us who recorded half of the EPs, he's no longer playing with us. And we have Jonah, a good buddy of ours from here in Richmond. Killer dude, killer drummer. So he's picking up the pieces for us.
Very
And
cool.
shout out his
And
other project, Wetwork, who are fantastic, awesome dudes, and killer riffs.
wet work, you say?
Yeah, Wetwork, just one word. They're
Wet work.
dope.
Okay. Awesome. We'll have to go check that out as well, and see what's out there. And there it is on the Bandcamps. And you guys are playing. So I think as part of that, there was an announcement that you guys are playing show. I think it was April 24th, if I'm not mistaken. Is this the first show with this lineup, or have you guys played before?
Yeah, it would be the first show with this lineup, and actually our first show in about a year and a half. We did a live studio session 20 like July 24, and then since then we've kind of just been trying to finish this record and kind of moving at our own pace, doing it how we want. And this isn't a career for us. This is us just writing good music and things we enjoy.
No,
Taking
it's
it slow.
awesome. Whenever you can get out there. I think pretty much every band we speak to is kind of in a very, very similar boat where whenever you can make the music and whenever you can get out to play, that's kind of the schedule. And I know that we as fans definitely appreciate that as kind of, not two lives, but definitely two very important things going on at once, which can be a lot. But I know us as listeners definitely appreciate that. Turbo, I know you have taught me a lot about blues and blues rock and old school blues and everything. Everything I've learned about blues has been from you, Turbo. So I know you're a fan of these guys. What questions do you have for the guys?
Well, I thought this one was more had a more of an Appalachian feel to it than your earlier work. But you get tagged with swap rock. I think Woodwitch is they're not from Richmond, I don't think, but they get tagged. They're from Virginia. They get tagged with swamp rock. Do you feel like have that swampiness sound to you, or that's
I just
just
feel like
one of those things that
I just feel like there's a humidity to all of the music we have, if that makes sense.
yeah,
You
especially from
think desert
Tennessee.
rock and all, that whole era of stuff. There's a atmosphere that you feel. I think we definitely have that in ours, but to Virginia, the Chickahominy.
We start a new tag with humidity rock.
Humidity rock. That should be definitely a T-shirt that you guys put out, and we won't ask for any kind of piece of that. I mean, when you look at a cover like this, right? This is pretty swampy, right? There's a lot of swampiness going on, but I don't think when you listen to, for example, the 3 songs on the new EP, you get a ton of that. What are some of the maybe bands or vibe that you were channeling during the session for these 3 songs, or how these 3 songs came out? Because I heard that you guys have 12 songs. Are all 12 of those songs recorded already and you're putting them out? based on the theme? I asked like 3 questions there, but let's start with that, and then I'll ask about, the vibe and the bands that you were kinda channeling when these 3 songs were written.
I think with this one, we really wanted to let the vocals shine a lot. I mean, Jason's a killer singer, so we really wanted to let that be kind of the forefront, turn the vocals up a little bit more rather than them just kind of be in the background and so dry. So I think that was kind of the thing I looked at least the production aspect of it. Um, as far as bands, man, I don't know. We listen to so many different realms of things. It's kind of you pull influence from everywhere. So I don't know if I can really pull one particular. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like when I'm thinking about like vocal melodies, vocal harmonies, I mean, there's a ton of bands. As Stills, Nash and Young, um, Iron and Wine. Iron and Wine basically taught me how to harmonize. It's just me in my car. It's a delivery driver. Both are all 3 parts of that harmony. Steely Dan also has some amazing harmonies. Um, the Melvins, that one record with Big Business, they have a ton of dope vocal harmonies. So like that sort of eclectic, sort of mix is sort of, you know, I think it informs like my vocal choices in a certain way. Yeah, I mean that's it. I wanted this record to be, we've sort of toyed with harmonies on the last record, but it wasn't like a focal point. And I feel like on these songs, that harmony is really more coming into its own and more of a constant versus a one-time thing. Like, oh, they had that,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah, harmonies are what and if you ever listen to the show, anybody talks about harmonies, it's I think what draws me in. But never have I don't think any human has in one sentence mentioned Iron and Wine, Steely Dan, and the Melvins. Like that is a glorious sentence of all of those bands in a row, and just shows kind of how all over the map in a really good way that you guys are. I'm a big fan of especially Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and the Melvins there, and did a lot of indie rock back in the early 2000s, where I spent a lot of time with Iron and Wine as well. Um, so the thing that I think always triggers me, or in a good way, when I see people's kind of bio is mention the 13th floor elevators on a couple of your descriptions there. So that's always like candy to me because I feel like that stuff is not underrated anymore, but I feel like that there's so much in of what they did in people's music today, from an influence standpoint. Is it both you guys dig that, or is that something that somebody pulled out when they heard your stuff, or how did that comparison come? Because there's that with Screaming Jay Hawkins, I think, and then they also mentioned one other band in the it's escaping me now, but there was one other one that's mentioned. But
They do a killer cover of that. I Put a Spell on You. If you haven't heard that, Rich, but that's great. I was going to compliment y'all on that. That really killed it.
Thanks, man.
yeah, so like 13th Floor, that's a band that you guys dig, or is that something that just kind of somebody threw at you?
Yeah, big Rocky Erickson fan. I mean, all the above. But yeah, 13 floor elevators is great. Just the driving psychedelic, you know, really fuzzy guitar, but not heavy. It's that line where it's almost still approachable to I don't know. Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, I had tickets to see Rocky and the Black Angels, and I got the flu and didn't go. And
Oh,
that is
bummer.
one of my biggest like concert regrets of all time that I didn't get to see that. I just love the Evil one too. His really weird like proto metal album that he did. That to me is just like a perfect record. Um, so yeah, so I love that you guys are all over the place in the best kind of way, and I think that comes out, especially in these 3 songs. I think there's a lot going on. Turbo, what else you have for the guys?
Well, as far as this goes, yes, I think you can hear more the influence than of the musical genres, like, more than the band's uh, influence. I was trying as I was listening, I was picking out you got more of a blues shuffle here and the underlying on the now what's the second song? Even Me Out and the psychedelic stuff and the hard rock stuff. It all melds kind of well together, but you don't ever really pick up on one particular band and say that's who they are. You know, like some bands you'll hear and you say, yeah, they're definitely a Zeppelin band or a Sabbath band or something like that. But with y'all, it's just you taking those genres and put them all together and kind of meld it, and it works so well.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, we've always kind of
Yeah,
wanted
we
it to be, familiar, but not one specific thing,
and I think we come at that from like a conscientious perspective. Like I think we've had Walter and I have had a bunch of conversations about like riffs and like is this just like is this just biting that one like Thin Lizzy riff or whatever? Like we try very hard to not hate other bands. I think it sort of goes back to Turbo, your first question about like do you consider yourself like swampy? And it's like I think the swamp thing came out of like what genre is this? I mean, it's a little blues, a little spike, a little metal, a little hard rock. It's like what is it? So yeah, we do try really hard not to have a defined genre. We just play music that Walt's such a great riff writer and such like an eclectic taste that it's we try not to box ourselves into one genre.
And Walt, as Jason mentioned, the riff writer here. Who are some of your favorite guitar players that you would mention, or maybe ones that we wouldn't expect you to say, or maybe ones that we would expect you to say? But who would you call out?
I'm so bad with just names, just objectively, where it's like, don't meet your heroes. But Grand Funk Railroad, love Grand Funk Railroad. That guitar tone, I tried to get for Shadow Work in a couple songs. Um, or earlier stuff, closer to home, first 2 or 3 records. Um,
That's weird
love
because
the,
I was going to say I thought I heard something that sounded Grand Funky in one of
yeah,
the songs,
yeah, just
but I wasn't going to say anything because that's so rare.
the single note, really fuzzed out riffs. I dig a lot. Uh, and then, the Doors are awesome. That guitar player does all the weird, double harmonic minor kind of weirdo stuff. Yeah, I don't know, man. Kind of a blend of it all.
I love the Grand Funk call out because Turbo taught me about Grand Funk. I had no idea. Like, I think I saw like on like Headbangers Ball when I was a kid, they played like the cover of Locomotion or something at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, what the fuck is this? Please get this off my TV. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. And then Turbo's like, no, go listen to the Red album because then you'll
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
what's happening. And then I understood what was happening. And like 15 albums later in my collection, uh, here we are. You guys mentioned Richmond as a scene, and you mentioned some bands. I think when I think of Richmond, I think of Ale again, like as a kind of a punk hardcore kid growing up. That was one of my favorite bands. I think Lamb of God is from Richmond, right? Or at least they were at some point. Um, who should we also know from Richmond? Maybe people who or bands that you guys interact with, play with, or buddies of yours who are in your kind of sphere that other people listening to this might want to check out.
And there's some other pretty well-known bands here too. You have Cough and One Hand and Inner Arma and um,
Guar.
Guar, yeah,
Guar.
Guar, of course.
Forget Guar is from Richmond. Yes.
Uh, yeah, I don't know, man. We have such a hard time, like, kind of fitting into not fitting into the scene, but it's like we're normally either the most indie band, quietest band, or we're the heaviest band. We kind of like ride that middle where it's you know everybody. You'll have play with a band that sounds like Sleep, or you play with a band that's like a melodic punk band. So it's I don't know, Jason, what do you got?
We'll shout out a few. Yeah, Sinister Haze, awesome.
Of course.
Um, uh, like Crimson Heat. I don't know if they're from Richmond, but they're from our area. Some boys from Raleigh. Um, uh, you know, um, Uh,
Magpie.
yeah, Magpie. Thank you. Our boy Mike's band. They're dope. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great bands. Valiant Thor is also from Richmond, or at least Herbie lives in Richmond now. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty. It's not the biggest scene. Like hardcore is much bigger in Richmond. Like pure like metal, death metal, also super big in Richmond. So there's not a ton of bands like us. But there are some, those hidden gems, Sinister Haze, bands like that. I There are a Book of Worms, more on
Yeah,
like the melodic metal side, but they're great. They're homies of ours. But yeah, if you haven't heard of any of those bands, please go check them out.
but
There's some
yeah.
great music happening in the city.
I didn't realize Book of Worms were from Richmond. They were like one of the first bands I interacted with when I started to get on social media, and they were just very cool. They had
Hell
just
yeah,
put out a new record out, and I was just chatting with one of them because I think they just announced that they signed to like Argonauta or one of those labels, and
yeah.
was asking them to come on the show, so they'll be on soon. So that's a very cool. I didn't even realize they were from the area. Um, so getting a lot of really, really, really great buzz. All you got to do is look at the socials and what Kyle's doing with the PR for the EP. Just some really great buzz about it. How are you guys feeling about the response, or do you not pay attention to that? Is it just you kind of put those songs out there and on to the next batch, or like do you pay attention to the feedback on the social media of what you're hearing? Because the feedback is pretty amazing, and I have a feeling it's going to be pretty well represented on Doom charts for March as well.
I mean,
I
Jason
mean,
handles all
I'll
the social media. Yeah. Go ahead,
yeah.
bro.
So like I will, I'll every time something pops up, I'm super stoked. Again, Kyle from Good Boys doing such a great job for us. But yeah, I mean, I will read it and I'll be stoked. And it's interesting to see like people's, reactions to it because, we've been sitting on these songs since, in some cases, like literally 2023. Like we've been, sitting on these songs for a while. So to see people's reactions to it is great. But we also like, it's not, I try to internalize like, hey, take this with a grain of salt. Like don't let it, get your head too big, don't take anything too hard. Don't take anything personally. It's just like any sort of feedback, be it positive or negative. Somebody is coming from a position and, if if they didn't get it, then you didn't give it to them is one of my favorite sayings. So, yeah, I mean, I'm very pleased with, how many publications have, posted things on social media and their kind words. It means a lot. But at the same time, it's like, we still have risks to write. We still have lyrics to write. Like we're still, I still do this because I love the act of creating. It's not specifically for praise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, awesome. And I think the interaction is kind of what a lot of the fans are into as well, just like interacting with the bands and being able to kind of have those discussions and talk about what it sounds like, influences and things like that, which is something that I really dig just in general about this scene. Um, so 3 songs out came out on March 20th. Dig them, they're awesome. As Greedy fans, we're obviously always looking forward to what's next, even though it's been out for 5 days, literally. Are we talking like at the season, like like 3 months from now, we're going to see the next EP released, like on the dot? Is that kind of what we're looking at? And that would be summer. So 60s like psych pop. Is that what we're going to hear out of the next record? Like flowers in your hair type hippie stuff, or what? What are we thinking for those 3 songs?
No, it actually goes a little faster. You think? I'd say more in the Caius realm for some, maybe some Black Angels for another. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of all over the place as always.
Those are 2 excellent reference points, that would get a lot of people very excited to hear the new stuff after these 3. Turbo, what else you got for the guys?
I was really digging the album cover, and I was wondering, are you going to change each season, or is this something you don't want to talk about and keep it a surprise for each season? But is it all going to stay the same and just change color, or do you have a different design for each one?
Yeah, you nailed
And
it,
who did
man.
this design? It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a good buddy of mine. I've known since shit, he was in elementary school. He's a tattoo artist here in Richmond. That he painted the first. Well, he did all four, but um,
What's his
yeah,
name,
it's gonna
Walter?
be it's Riley Jennings. Um, great artist around here. But yeah, we're gonna have four separate artworks. All of them are green men. All of them are based on season. All of them come out equinox solstice, kind of a celebration of the seasons. So
Yeah, it's awesome, and every time you look at it, you kinda see something else going on, like, I just noticed the mustache, like, there's definitely a mustache going on there, a and I had to look up what Ostara means. It's a Wiccan, pagan holiday celebrating the spring, which makes perfect sense for the title of this. Um, yeah, love that, and that being said, we have this cover, and we will have 3 other covers. Will there be at some point a double record with all 4, like the Kiss solo records that will come out, like the best of the Kiss solo records? Or what are we are you gonna do any physical media for these songs?
I mean, that's the idea, man. We were sitting on these songs for so long, and we were just so ready to start getting them out, and just the timelines didn't work out with a lot of people that we've worked with in the past or other people we talked with, and we were just like, man, let's just release it digitally. If we get physical copies, we'll do it. If not, we'll print a cover picture and have a Bandcamp link or something. I don't know. Um, I mean, but yeah, obviously, physical vinyl would be great. The idea was to do, spring, summer, fall, winter, 2 records because they're all about 15, 20 minutes each, somewhere around there. Maybe winter is probably closer to 25. Yeah, that was definitely the goal. So we'll see.
Winter sounds doomy. I think we is winter the doom side of Mister Earthbound? I feel like that's what I'm hearing when you're saying that it's longer.
I'd say so.
I mean, I think lyrically, it's definitely the darkest. That's like the darkest sort of. For me, it's like obviously like seasonal depression and all that stuff. So it is conceptually a pretty dark collection.
Where did this? I may have missed it in the beginning when you may have said it. Where did the idea originate from to do it like this? Be seasonal and to follow each season? Are y'all really into nature, or is it just
Well, we had we had these 12 songs, and we were like trying to figure out a way to not only like maximize engagement in this like dystopian hellscape of social media that you have to, being in a band now means you also have to be a social media manager, um, but also try to, release these 12 songs in a way that sort of made sense for us. And so Walt had the idea of like, what if we released, 3 songs? We had 12 divided by 4. That's, throughout the year, we can release 3 songs on, every equinox or solstice. So we were like, yeah, man, that's better than any ideas that we. Um, but yeah, I mean, I I am not super, uh, touch with the earth, but some of the other folks in the band, I think Walt's a little bit more Wiccan or pagan than I am, but not in any like serious way. Walt, you have anything to add to
I think it's funny to say some of the other folks and then say my name.
that?
Um, but yeah, I mean, everybody should celebrate life and those things. But yeah, no, we had this collection of songs, and we had already had such a gap from shadow work, and it's like, okay, we dropped 7, 8 songs, whatever it was, and then we just like had such a downtime. So you kind of build this momentum, then you lose it, and you build momentum again. So it's like, all right, let's try to space this out in a way that we could like actually constantly build something where it's like constantly interesting. It's not just here's 12 songs, see you in 5 years. I mean, not that that's what will happen, but yeah,
It does happen to a lot of bands, right? I mean,
yeah.
you get 12 and then you get nothing, and that nothing could mean life got in the way. It could mean they broke up. It could mean a million other things. It's interesting that you said that because I was reading, I think it was an article in like Psychedelic Baby magazine, the online one where they did something about the EP and they mentioned momentum, right? And I think that's kind of the theme of what I'm hearing from you guys is like just instead of having this gap, just continue with the momentum of kind of being out there. And the social media thing is interesting right now. I was talking to one band who didn't work with a PR company and just he's trying to do it all himself and he's finding it's not easy. Like it's not easy just to like be online and say, "Hey, listen to my band." It's like you have to do a lot more than that. You have to work with PR. You have to, do a show like this. Not that, we're doing this to for any reason except to talk to you guys and talk about the music, but like there's stuff now that is probably a lot different than any other time when bands would release music. So it's interesting, and Walt looks like wants nothing to do with that. So Jason, it feels like
Nope.
you're the guy who winds up with that job if I'm getting the vibe of the conversation.
Well, yeah, I mean, the responsibilities bounce around from person to person, and somebody will take it on and then they get sick of it, and then another person takes it on and they get sick of it. So, uh, I carry the mantle right now. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of, I did stand up comedy for 10 years and I have a lot of friends still in that scene. And the work that they have to do to get is insane. I mean, you know, constantly, putting crowd work and new clips, and any clip they put up, they can't do on stage anymore. It is, as boohoo as I have to run my band social media page, I think it's a little bit easier for musicians to sort of have content, or that it's not, you can't just like put out 30 seconds and you can never play it again live. Like when we put out music and then have book a show, people are excited to come see that song played live. So as bad as it could be, it's not, like the worst thing that we have to, you know,
Being a stand-up comedian sounds like the worst thing. Like that sounds like the scariest and most I don't know. Like at least if someone's heckling you when you're playing in a band, you can just turn up the guitar and just let it wail and
chuck a,
yeah,
chuck a
just
beer at them.
yeah, exactly. Like um how did that influence what you do in music, or did it not? Or do you do music now because you were done with doing that? It's a
So I've been in bands since I was like 14 or 15 years old. And I started comedy in my early 20s. And I I'll say this. I did comedy for 10 years and then stopped, and I still play music. And I've, been playing music for, I guess, Jesus Christ, 21 years now I've been in bands. So yeah, I mean, uh, comedy's pretty hard. You have to go out every single night. But it did give me like, going up on stage a lot, certainly gave me confidence to, be the singer in a band more. It gave me, I'm comfortable with silence on stage. I don't have to fill every single second, so between songs, I don't you know, have to always be saying something. I'm not uncomfortable with silence. Um, yeah, I mean, confidence, I think, is the biggest thing that comedy gave to my stage presence, I guess.
It's such a funny thing too, because I'm the complete opposite. Like when we play shows, it's like I want to fill every moment, and Jason thrives off silence. So it's like such a juxtaposition between the two of us.
I would have never have guessed that. And I have to ask, Walt, is Jason funny? Like, is he funny? Or are you like, I'm
Oh yeah,
over it. I've known this guy for so long.
Don't
I
I'm
ask
mean,
over
Walt.
it.
I
Don't
definitely am
ask
over it.
Walt.
No, I'm just kidding. No, he's a good guy. He's always funny.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. We're just kind of judging where the band is at this point based on the answer to that question. Um, that's really funny that you fill the space and Jason is okay with the silence because that is the exact opposite of what you would think based on me just knowing you guys for a little while and based on what Jason did. So um, that's very cool. Just kind of alter egos on stage. Um, Turbo, before we let the guys go, any other questions that you have for them?
No, just thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate meeting y'all. And I think we covered everything that I can
Yeah,
think of.
yeah. I mean, I just want to say and that the new EP is excellent. I've listened to it. The good thing about an EP is that I could listen to it 40 times and just let it play and it's 3 songs and then you get to know those songs Whereas like a full length record, sometimes there's so many albums coming at you that it's hard to like take the whole thing in. So I think digesting an EP these days is something that I kind of look forward to, and I feel like I spend a little bit more time with that because of that. So first thing I would say is the new EP is amazing. Ostara came out March 20th. You guys should go check it out. Will be in my top the top of my Doom charts, which I'm very excited to, and I'm not supposed to um, um, promote or say or tell people what to put on their charts. I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is saying that it's going to be high on my chart because I love it and I can't wait for the rest of the stuff to come out. You guys will all be jealous because I have a copy of this and no one else can buy it anymore unless you guys do a repress at some point. But Mr. Earthbound, Jason, Walt, thank you so much for doing this. Everyone go check out the new EP because it's awesome. And I can't wait to hear what's next. Please come back and talk to us when the next EP drops if you guys don't mind.
Appreciate it, guys.
I'd love to.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having us on, y'all. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.